Hello and welcome to video number 5. I've been getting some positive feedback so far on my videos, which I'm really grateful for. I do need to push my YouTube channel out there more. I've been quite busy and didn't have the time at the minute, but over the Christmas break, I'm going to post loads of stuff, do a big push on it, and fingers crossed it can gain some more popularity. I have been listening to your feedback though. One feedback was that they wanted to see the names and the material balance again, which I've changed for this video. Another one was to take my cap off, but I can't be bothered to do my hair. But I have spun it round for you, so I've made a bit of an effort. And another feedback was I've only posted my wins and not my losses, but trust me, there's plenty of losses to come and draws. Don't worry, that will be coming. Um, Today is a club game. I know I was supposed to be doing my round 1 and 3 of the Cambridgeshire Championship today, but I'm planning on doing that video alongside my coach, and unfortunately, he's ill at the minute. He's on holiday in Thailand and picked up a virus. So, but luckily, I had a club game on Tuesday, so I'm going to look over that. And I was on board 2, and I was playing a lad called Ben. Uh, He's a nice bloke, a friend of mine. We do meet up sometimes and have some casual games, so I do know of him, which always helps. You always feel a bit more confident when it's someone you know. But he's a strong player, over 1800. I think he's been playing since he was about 8 years old. So yeah, good player. And I was the white pieces and started with e4, of course. And he's a Caro-Kann player, same as me with black. And one of the most satisfying things in chess is when you do some opening prep and it works, like they go right down the line that you've prepped. And that happened in this game. I've only ever had it happen a few times, but it's always really satisfying when it happens. So I know he's a Caro-Kann player, and me and another lad from Spalding who's also a Caro-Kann player, we spent last week, club night last week, looking at this line for like half an hour, and my opponent ended up playing right into it, so it was really nice. So I play knight d2, which is the modern variation of the Caro-Kann. Yeah, and in the Caro-Kann, if white doesn't capture or advance, you pretty much always take this pawn. I think that's the general rule. You always take on e4. So takes back, and black plays knight f6. This is called the Tartakower variation. So the idea is white can either retreat back to like g3 or defend the knight, I suppose. I don't really know. I know that the most popular move is to take it. And it's double-edged because, black gets these double pawns, but the idea is, and I play this variation myself with black. I really like playing it because you do get these double pawns, but this pawn can end up actually being really strong. And the idea is you get really quick development. You've opened this bishop, you've opened this bishop, your queen's got a semi-open file. You're going to quickly castle. You're going to get this bishop to d6. D6. You're going to castle, and then you've got this nice open file for your rook as well. So you double your pawns, but very quick development. It can be really aggressive. You usually go on a kingside attack, um, but I took anyway because this is the line I prepped. c3, just solidifying my centre. Black plays bishop d6, which is the main move. I play bishop to d2. Black castles, and then I play bishop to d3 on the last move, and queen to c2 on this move. And obviously, the idea should be obvious. I'm developing my queen, creating a battery here, threatening this pawn with check. Black throws in check, rook to e8. Again, it's the main move. And I block with knight to e2. So black now has to do something about this threat. And I believe the main move here is to play g6, which he then plays. And then I play h4. And the idea is I'm going to play h4, h5, and I've got this big attack coming on the light squares. I'm going to open up the h file for my rook. I've got this queen and bishop battery, and yeah, I'm going to target, going to castle long and attack the king. And that's the idea of this opening. He plays knight to d7 and h5. So I knew we're on move 11 now, and I was in prep for this whole time. So right up to this point, I'm in prep. I'm confident. I'm playing my moves quick. He was sweating a bit. You could see he was worrying at this point. He'd burnt quite a lot of time up. and he played a knight f8, just defending these critical squares. I think he said to me after the game, "There's a saying: a knight on f8, your opponent can't mate." I never heard that one before, but I liked it. And then so I was trying to decide now what to do between bishop h6 or takes, and the reason bishop h6 is nice is, obviously he's weakening these dark squares here, and you're getting in, but also this knight is obviously a big defender. So at some point I can look at taking here and then trading this knight and then sacking this bishop. So you might get something like let's just play a slow move for Blanc. You might get takes, trade the knight off, and then you can get this sack in where basically it's checkmate. But he would obviously never walk into that. He would defend it, but you're making the threat at least. But so I was trying to decide between bishop to h6 or h takes g6. I believe, according to the engine, bishop h6 is the best move here. But I played h takes g6. I just figured I didn't know what to do, and I just figured, look, opening my rook cannot be bad. It's got to be good. So that's why I played that. He took back, and then I played bishop to h6. So we got a similar position to what we probably would have anyway. And then played rook to e7. So just adding more defense along the seventh rank. I suppose the idea is that if I was to take this knight, let's say takes with the queen, and then I do this sack, he's got his rook and his queen. Because his rook's defending the seventh rank, he can just block with his queen, and then I've sacked a piece for 2 pawns, but I'm not getting any compensation. Not really. He can defend it fine. Looking at the game afterwards, he didn't actually have to bring the rook to the 7th rank because if I take this knight, he can just take back with the bishop, and the bishop does the same job. So, if I try sacking again now, he just blocks with the bishop. He did say he saw this, but he just was worried about it. He thought that, this looked really dangerous for him and really risky. He didn't want to go into it, but I think this looks fine for him. It is a bit scary, but I've got to get this rook in the game. I can't castle because it would leave my knight hanging. So I've got to get this knight. I've got to get this rook into the game and this knight over to join the attack, and I haven't really got time. He's got the bishop pair. He's gonna be able to get defensive resource in. I think this will be fine for black. So this sacrifice was never really on, to be honest. Not unless you was playing a weaker player who just wasn't paying attention and didn't defend, but that was never going to be the case here. So I don't think I ever realistically had the sacrifice on g6. Yeah, so let's say he played e7, and then I castled. What I really want to do is double my rooks on h file and keep targeting this h7 pawn. Black played bishop to e6, and so far in this game, all my moves have been good. The only move that hasn't been perfect was when I played h instead of bishop h6, but that's only a small thing. Apart from that, my moves have pretty much been the best moves the whole time. This was the first time I made an inaccuracy. I played a3, and obviously the idea of this move is he's threatening to take this pawn, right? But a common trick you should know is that actually a lot of the time they can't take this pawn because, let's just make a move. If they take, you just play here, and the bishop's trapped. You win the bishop. He's probably going to have to sacrifice it for another pawn and get 2 pawns out of it. They always call this a poison pawn, where they can take it, but you can just push up and trap them in. So always keep your eye out for these poison pawns for if you're looking to take one, or if your opponent's threatening to take one. But I didn't think it worked because I thought that at the takes here he had queen a5, and I thought, oh, I'm not gonna be able to get over and take this bishop, so it doesn't work. But actually it does, because I'll just play king to d2, and then this rook's coming over now, so it does work. The bishop is trapped. He's probably just gonna have to sack it at this point. So my king is a bit airy there in the middle of the board, but I'm sure this is absolutely fine. winning a bishop for 2 pawns. So yeah, that's why a3 was an inaccuracy, is because it wastes a move, because I didn't have to do that. I could have trapped his bishop even though I didn't think I could. And the problem with wasting a move is, when you're a beginner, because I can still remember when I was like 400 elo when I first started playing chess, and I pretty much only knew how the pieces moved. That was it. But I still remember the days of being like 800, 900, below 1,000, and you don't really think about these sort of things, but wasting tempo. But as you get to a stronger level in chess, it's so critical not to waste moves. And in this situation, I think it was really critical, because I could have spent this time playing. I think rook to h4 was the best move according to the engine, because it's going to give me time to double rooks. Let's say he makes a move. I'm gonna double these rooks, and once I can double these rooks, I've got really, really good attacking chances. So by playing this a3, by wasting a move playing this a3 move, what happens is he never really allows me time to double my rooks. So because he follows it with a5, and what he's threatening is to go a4 and plant his bishop. I've got these weak light squares, and he wants to plant his bishop here, skewering my queen and rook. He's going to win material if I allow him to get this in. So I'm never really going to have time to double the rooks now. Whereas if I hadn't played a3, maybe I could. So maybe that could have been, just wasting one move can be so critical and change the game. But I played, I figured I didn't have time to double the rooks now. I thought, he's going to get this and this and this in, so I'm probably going to end up having to move my queen or something. I'm not really going to have time to play these. But I mean, maybe I would have, to be fair. Rook h4, a4, rook here, bishop here, queen here. Yeah, I probably would still have had time. I don't know. I've not really looked into it enough, to be honest, to comment. Maybe I would have had time. I probably should have analysed that one before doing this video. But yeah, anyway, I didn't feel comfortable doubling the rooks now. I thought, I'm just going to get. I was looking at this knight and thinking, this rook is either going to join this rook on the H file at some point, or it wants to come to this open E file. And this knight is not really doing anything I need to at the minute. So I started to just focus on getting these pieces more active. To be honest with you, that was my thinking now. That's why I played knight to f4. I thought, okay, what can I do with this knight? I didn't really know, if it comes here and here, is it, what's it really doing? I just figured I needed to get into the game somehow, and I just figured from here I could win the bishop pair by taking that bishop. I'm putting more pressure on g6, like we talked about, potential sacrifices. If he ever moves this knight away or something, I build on my I build my pressure on g6 for any potential sacrifices. So I figured it was just maybe doing a decent job here on f4. So he took, which I was kind of expecting him to do, but I'm happy now because I've got a pair of bishops. So he continues with his plan of a4, going to get the bishop here. So I've got to move my queen and my rook now. You've got to be paying attention to what your opponent's doing. And, again, like I was talking about beginner level, when I was a lower level, I would have just gone, oh, he's just pawn storming my king. And that's all I would have looked at and carried on doing what I was doing. But obviously you have to, really make sure you know what he's doing. And it's pretty obvious when you look. He's backing this square up. He wants to get this skewer in on my queen and rook. So I have to move the queen or the rook. So I played queen to d2, which was the best move. And then he played rook to a5. This surprised me a bit. I was fully expecting him to play bishop to b3, just clamping down on these light squares around my king, forcing me to move my rook. It would have opened his rook on the e file here. But he played rook to a5 instead, which I kind of get, bringing it down to the fit frank. This fit frank looks quite active for his rook. So, and I suppose, it can maybe at some point swing over here if I start getting some really strong threats. So it's kind of an attacking and a defensive piece, I suppose. If he's gonna continue to pawn storm, it could probably join in on the attack, but also swing to the defense if needs be. That's why queens are normally really strong on the side of the board as well. They can kind of swing over to the other side of the board really fast and act as a defensive piece if needed, while also working as an attacking piece. So Queens are usually strong on the edge of the board when you've got, you know, an open rank and an open file. So I just played rook to e1 again. Like I said, just wanted to get my last pieces I hadn't got active yet into the game. So all my pieces now looking good. And yeah, black went for a trade. I guess maybe he was feeling under pressure and wanted to just trade. And that was probably looking at it now, that's probably why I played rook a5. Obviously, if he had gone here first, then obviously that's no good. It's going to completely ruin his kingside structure. So I'm assuming, looking back now, that was the reason for rook a5. He's probably looking at just forcing this trade through. Again, he's probably still worried about these light squares. Just wants to trade these light squared bishop off. And yeah, it's just an equal position, I suppose, after the trade, which I do. You know, I can move a check, but I suppose is he just going to move back and trade? At this point, I'll be honest, at this point, I realised that my attack had fizzled out, right? And we're pretty much just in an equal end game. And he's a stronger player than me. He's, like I say, he's just over 1800. So he's like 200 elo above me. Probably even a bit more. So I was happy to just have a drawn end game and try and get a draw. So I made the trade and traded the rook as well. I figured, okay, I'll trade this rook. His queen's got to take back, and then I can bring my rook onto the e-file with tempo, which I did. Bang, bang, bang. He moved, and it was in this position that I offered him a draw, and he accepted. I think I had about 20 minutes left, and he had about 7. So he was in a bit of time pressure as well. But I was never confident of winning from this position. I could have pushed on and tried to win, but you know, now all the pressure's gone. He can start looking at getting his knight back into the game, and he's probably going to come and pawn storm me. It's just. I think if you put the engine on this position, I think it's literally 0, dead equal. Let's have a look. You can't see this on your screen, but yeah, it's 0.13. So it's dead equal. And I was happy to take the draw, get a solid draw against a good player, gain a handful of elo, and yeah, so just a nice quick one. But it was a good game. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, keep your eyes peeled for my next videos. Thank you as always.